Last year, BlackBerry gave us a look into their first Android phone with the Priv, a phone that had flagship quality specs, a very good build quality, a very big battery, BlackBerry's signature physical keyboard, and a near stock Android experience featuring Android 5.1.1 Lollipop. This year, however, BlackBerry took things in a very different direction that didn't turn out so well for them. The DTEK50 is a phone that is underwhelming in terms of design, build quality, performance, battery life, basically everything that isn't security. What's up, guys? Aryan back with another video, and this is the Tech Bros review of the BlackBerry DTEK50. Let's get the specs of the phone out of the way before we actually jump into the detailed review. The DTEK50 has a 5.2-inch screen, 1080p resolution with a 424 ppi density. Comes running Android 6.0 Marshmallow out of the box, and it's got a Qualcomm Snapdragon 617 processor with an Adreno 405 GPU. It's only got 16 gigs of internal storage, but that can be expanded to 256 gigs via microSD, and it's got 3 gigs of RAM with a 13 megapixel camera on the back and an 8 megapixel camera on the front. So you're probably guessing that with the Snapdragon 617, the BlackBerry DTEK50 is a little underwhelming in terms of performance. And you wouldn't necessarily be wrong. That being said, the DTEK50 handles day-to-day tasks relatively well. Doing things like making phone calls or sending text messages are completely fine. You won't find any lag as far as those tasks go. But where you'll really start to see performance hiccups is when you start doing intensive multitasking, such as switching back and forth between YouTube and Pokemon Go and listening to music and GPS navigation and listening to podcasts. Once you start getting into really intensive things, you'll really start to notice that the chipset on this phone is lacking. When you have such an average chipset under the hood of the phone, you're going to need slimmed down and debloated software to ensure that day-to-day use does not result in horrendous lag. And in my opinion, BlackBerry made the right decision by including a near-stock Android experience that has Android 6.0 Marshmallow right out of the box. That being said, BlackBerry definitely added software enhancements and their own slew of applications to ensure that you get the more business side of Android with this phone. BlackBerry added in their own contacts application, their own calendar application, BlackBerry Messenger. Who uses that anymore? They added their own deep BlackBerry device search. They added the DTEK security application. They added a built-in password keeper, BlackBerry Radio, BlackBerry Notes. I mean, the BlackBerry software just keeps coming. But, in my opinion, the highlight of BlackBerry software is the ever-popular BlackBerry Hub. So BlackBerry Hub is essentially a one-stop shop application that merges your BBM messages, your text messages, your multiple email accounts, your call logs, your Instagram, your Slack, your Twitter, your Facebook. Every single app that basically has a notification you can throw into BlackBerry Hub and basically run through all of your notifications in one application as opposed to jumping back and forth between numerous applications to get everything taken care of. This application was so cool to me that I actually assigned it to the convenience key on the BlackBerry DTEK50. Speaking of the convenience key, this brings me to the overall build quality of the DTEK50. Now, I will say this, the phone does feel very solid in the hand, definitely doesn't feel flimsy or like it's about to break, but I do have some issues with it, mainly with their choice of button placement. So on the right side of the phone, you have your standard volume rocker, and you have a button that looks eerily like the power button, but it's not. It's the aforementioned convenience key. On the left side of the phone, specifically the top left side of the phone, you have the power button. I'm not left-handed, and I don't like using my right index finger on the left side of my phone to turn it on. So I'm not really sure what BlackBerry was doing here, but thankfully they saved themselves by enabling the double tap to wake and double tap to sleep gesture. So that's okay. My next kind of thought as far as the build quality goes is the USB 2.0 port on the bottom of the phone is on the bottom left. Why not just the center? Never mind. The audio jack is also on the top of the phone, and another interesting part is you have not only dual front-facing speakers, but you have dual rear-facing speakers. And before we get any further into the hardware, in case you're wondering, this is a rebranded Alcatel Idol 4. BlackBerry was not in charge of the hardware this time around on the DTEK50. They partnered with a company called TCL, which is the same company that manufactures Alcatel phones. And they essentially took the back glass panel off the Alcatel Idol 4 and replaced it with a grippy plastic material, which I don't mind. I don't need a phone to be completely made out of all glass or all metal in order to justify the fact that it feels premium. The DTEK50 feels good in the hand, and the back plastic is actually relatively grippy, so I never had any issues with the phone slipping. That being said, I still think this is a lazy move as far as BlackBerry's hardware decision goes, because I prefer the much better built Priv. Back to the convenience key. Like I said before, it's on the right side of the phone, and it's right underneath the volume rocker, but right above the ridiculously big SIM tray slot. You know what? Before we get to the convenience key, let me cover the SIM tray slot because it's huge. Most, SIM tray slots, especially ones that can accommodate a micro SD card, are generally vertical, so they're more long than they are wide. Well, BlackBerry did things differently again, and it's really wide. It's about an inch wide, so I was very surprised when I first popped it out. I honestly thought I broke the phone at first because it just does not look right for a SIM tray to be that wide across. But, that's just me kind of just taking jabs at the BlackBerry. It's not anything detrimental. It's not anything very important. It's just, big SIM tray. But for real this time, the convenience key. So this is a button that you can essentially assign a number of functions to, and its main job is to make things more convenient for you. So you can set the button to speed dial a specific contact, compose a text message, open any application you have on your phone, or if those don't do it for you, you can use any of BlackBerry's software tweaked functions. So you can compose a BBM, you can compose a new email, you can email a specific person, you can add an event to your calendar, you can add an event to your agenda, you can view a specific contact card, you can call voicemail, check call history, open the dial pad, check battery level, data usage, flashlight. It goes on and on, okay? The convenience key is meant to be convenient. But here's the thing. You can't actually use it to power on the device. You can only use it to turn the screen off. So I'm going to nickname it the inconvenience key. Besides the convenience key, there was one other aspect of the DTEK50's build quality that thoroughly impressed me, and that is the dual front-facing and rear-facing speakers. They're actually pretty good. For a phone that costs $299, they're actually pretty good. When you take them to max volume, they don't become distorted or they don't give off that kind of tin can noise that a lot of speakers will give off when you take it to max volume. And the good part about them is, if you flip the phone on its back or flip the phone on its front, the audio will be unaffected because all four blast at the same time whenever you're watching a YouTube video or listening to music. Let's talk about the screen. We've already covered that it's a 1920 by 1080p IPS LCD panel, and it gets the job done. BlackBerry claims that it's scratch resistant, but I wouldn't put that theory to the test. Like I said, the panel just gets the job done. It's not going to be a screen that's going to blow you away like one you'd find on the Galaxy Note 7, but to be completely honest with you, you really won't realize that it's lacking that kind of clarity or quality unless you put it side by side with a phone like the Galaxy Note 7. So for the average cell phone user, it's good enough to get the job done. But two aspects of the phone that you will notice are lacking when you compare it to other phones on the market: the DTEK50's camera and battery life. So the DTEK50 has a 5.2-inch screen and it's relatively thin. Now, while this may be cool as far as the build goes, this also means that it's going to have a pretty small battery. And 2,610 milliamp hours is the definition of a small battery. You'll be reluctant to get maybe 8 to 9 hours off the cable before you need to put it back on charge in order to fill it up. I definitely could not get through 1 day's worth of use, considering I am an incredibly heavy power user. Obviously, your usage will vary, though. But as far as my battery usage is concerned, there's no way I could get through 1 full day, let alone 8 to 9 hours after taking it off charge. But the good part about the phone is it does feature Quick Charge 2.0. So if you have an outlet in your cubicle, your school, or wherever you might be during the day while you have the DTEK50 on you. As long as you can plug it in, you should be fine. You don't have to worry about the battery dying on you before you get home. Now let's talk about the camera. Whew, the camera. Okay, so the DTEK50 comes with a 12 megapixel rear shooter with f2.0 aperture, but as we all know, megapixels are not everything, and it clearly shows on this phone. A lot of times when you take photos, pictures lack clarity and detail, and color reproduction is very inaccurate. This leads to pictures almost just blending in together. There's no clear subject, there's no clear focus, there's no clarity, there's no detail. Pictures are not good on the BlackBerry DTEK50, but don't take my word for it. Take a look at your screen right now and you'll start to see pictures come up. And not only that, I also took very similar pictures with my daily driver, the OnePlus 3, just so you guys get an idea of how pictures on a $399 phone compared to a $299 phone. Yeah, the DTEK50 doesn't have a good camera. But let's be honest, the DTEK50 was not made to have the best camera, the best battery life, the best performance, the best screen. It really wasn't made for any of those. What it was made for is security. BlackBerry claims the DTEK50 is the world's most secure Android smartphone, and I'm inclined to believe them. Now I can get into detail with you guys as to why it's the most secure Android smartphone, like having a hardened Linux kernel, a more secure bootloader, FIPS 140-2 compliant full disk encryption, but to be honest with you, the average user is not going to care about that. And BlackBerry knows this. Hence, the DTEK50 security application built right in. This is an application that allows you to, in very simple terms, see how secure your device is. It gives you a rating based on a color system, red, yellow, or green, green obviously being the most secure, and it also shows you why your device is secure. The phone constantly checks to make sure your data is encrypted, you have developer options turned off, it scans to check authenticity of actual BlackBerry hardware, factory reset protection, operating system integrity, and even to ensure that you only have apps installed from the Google Play Store which are verified as safe. So it probably is the world's most secure Android smartphone, considering Android is kind of hit or miss when it comes to security. Alright guys, that's it for the Tech Bros review over the BlackBerry DTEK50. Is it a phone for me? No. Is it a phone for you? That depends on how much you value security. If security means more to you than performance, battery life, camera, screen, basically every other aspect of a cell phone, then the DTEK50 is the right phone for you. And it's only $299, so it's relatively inexpensive. That being said, if security is not that important to you, I would highly suggest exploring other options such as the OnePlus 3, which is $100 more, but is one of the fastest phones I have ever used and is currently my daily driver alongside the Galaxy Note 7. If you guys enjoyed the review, hit the like and subscribe button down below. Get to us in the comment section. Let us know what you liked, possibly what you didn't like. If I don't like your comment, though, I'm taking it off, just so you know. But like I said, guys, get to us. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We really appreciate all the support we see from you guys on all our videos. Thanks again for watching, as always, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. Lag with everything that it does. It actually handles day-to-day tasks. Tasks. Day-to-day tasks.